Hello and welcome to Take 10 at Southside. My name's Mary Hinshelwood, and it really is a privilege to be given the opportunity to talk to you today. I'd like to start with reading from the Bible, where it talks about love. And it says this: "If I give everything I own to the poor, and even go to the stake to be burned as a martyr, but I don't love, I've got nowhere. So no matter what I say, what I believe, and what I do, I'm bankrupt without love. Love never gives up. Love cares more for others than for self. Love doesn't want what it doesn't have. Love doesn't strut, doesn't have a swelled head, doesn't force itself on others, isn't always me first, doesn't fly off the handle, doesn't keep score of the sins of others, doesn't revel when others grovel. It takes pleasure in the flowering of truth, puts up with anything. It trusts God always looks for the best, never looks back, but keeps going to the end. Trust steadily in God, hope unswervingly, love extravagantly, and the best of the three is love." Well, all I can say is those are amazing words for us to try and put into practice in our lives. Throughout my life experiences, I've met many interesting, funny, amazing people. So I'd like to share with you today just about one or two of them who influenced my life along the way. I emigrated to Canada and went to live in Victoria. And I started attending a church there and was getting to know people. And I met this couple, Stan and Eileen Hitchman, and their 3 children. They were such a lovely couple. They made me so welcome. They made sure they looked after me and was interested in what I did, where I worked, that kind of thing. Soon after I had gotten to know Eileen and Stan, I nearly forgot their names there. My friend Aileen that I was sharing an apartment with, she was going to be moving to Calgary. She was getting married, so her move to Calgary was pretty soon, and so I had to start looking for other accommodation because the apartment that we were in was just too expensive for me to have on my own. So I started looking around, but I was finding it difficult. A lot of places were too expensive for what I could afford. And one day I was at church on Sunday, and Eileen knew that I was looking for a place. And so she came to me and she said, "Now look, in our home we have a spare room, and we would welcome you to come and live with us." Well, I was just bowled over, as you can imagine. I had been looking and couldn't find anywhere, and here somebody came and said to me that I could come and live with them. So I went to see the beautiful home and the spare room, and as soon as I was there and saw it, I thought, that's for me. And they were so kind and just made me so welcome into their home. I moved in, they helped me move in with all my stuff, and they just were just so gracious and made me really part of their family. I, I felt like being, I was a daughter. Their oldest daughter was about 10 years younger than myself. So I over the years I got to know them really well, and was just so blessed by knowing them and how they showed me what it is like to love others in a real way, and how that when we follow Jesus, these are the kind of things that we should be doing in our life. And I just feel that they really did show the love that it talks about in Corinthians. They just were amazing people, and I've been able to keep up with them over the years. Now their family have got children, and the children have children. I've been over to Canada several times for weddings, and it's been wonderful. So that was a lovely experience that I had when I lived in Canada. When I think of people that I have known since coming back to live in Scotland, two people came to mind. Their names are Kath and Ruby. They are sisters, and they live together. And I met these two older ladies when I came to live in Troon. They were just so full of fun, and you could pop in and have a coffee and sit at their big bay window in Troon and look out to the ocean, and it was a beautiful situation. So but they were also praying people. They loved to pray, and they loved to pray with people. So we used to get together on a Monday evening, and there was just a small group of us, but we would pray about things like family and friends, and about the world, what was going on in the world at that time. And one Monday night, we were praying for friends who were in the Gambia, sharing Jesus. They were doing other work, but they were that their main aim was to go and to share Jesus with others. But at that time, the government in Gambia they did not like Christians, and so they ended up being arrested and put in prison. When we were there that evening praying for them, we just felt God's presence and His Spirit in a real tangible way as we started to pray, especially for Dave. We started to pray with a real urgency because we had been told that he was in solitary confinement. So we prayed that God would be with him and that he would know that people throughout the world were praying for him and his wife. It was only after months after Dave and his wife Fiona got out of prison and were able to come back to the country of Scotland that we found out just the horrendous torture that he suffered. Unbelievable. He's written a book about it, but just to see that when we were in that room that night with Katherine, Ruby and several others, we just felt the presence of God in a tangible way, and that is really what praying's all about. And Katherine Ruby certainly really taught me about prayer, and their love for Jesus and other people were just such an example to me, that I really praise the Lord for them. They have now gone to be with Jesus. They're no longer with us in Troon, but their memory lives on, and I just really wanted to share that with you. So, what about today and the crisis that our nation and the world is facing? Well, we can praise God together that His love is still the same. It never gives up on us. Jesus' love for each of us is amazing. It never dies. I leave you with some words from a Chris Tomlin song that I've so enjoyed listening to over these past few weeks, called Is He Worthy? But it asks one or two questions in the song, and I will just leave them with you. Does the Father truly love us? He does. Does the Spirit move among us? He does. Does Jesus the Messiah hold forever those He loves? He does. And I really pray that today you will experience God's love in a real tangible way in your life. God bless you and have a good day.